Hey there, everybody. How's it going? This is Alakai. It's been a little bit of time. Sorry about that. I've been having a ton of internet problems. But I'm back online now, and I can start making videos again. I'm going to try switching things up just for a little bit, and I'd appreciate if all you guys let me know what you think. I'm going to start putting my topics or discussions, my little Dice Master discussions, in the front of the videos and moving the pack openings towards the back. Only reason why is that some people don't want to watch pack openings. Personally, I love it as long as it's not like too many. As long as it's not like gravity feed at one time. I really enjoy watching 5, 10 packs being opened. I get that thrill. It's kind of like watching a roller coaster on the screen. So I appreciate it. I like it, and I like to see what kind of cards are out there if I haven't seen something before and it looks like fun and getting people's opinions about it. So I'm going to continue doing it, but I'm going to go ahead and stick it towards the end of the videos now and put the discussions in the front. The other thing is that these videos, I've never once thought of myself as being an authority in this game by any means at all. This is just a venue for me to have little pieces of information, little things I've seen get exposed and showed to whatever audience feels like dropping in. It's just to talk about kind of things I've seen and maybe show kind of recent trends, talk about concerns I have, things like the release dates and some different ideas and thoughts about decks. I've said in a couple videos, I'm never going to once tell you guys you should use this deck. This is the best deck ever. I will propose strategies, though, and maybe some cards that kind of go well together. But for the most part, I'm just kind of letting you guys know what I see and seeing if there's any interest out there. So, with all that said and done, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate all the subscribers that are coming on and the watch and the views and whatnot. I'm going to go ahead and start up with the discussions. Thanks all. Take care. Hello, everybody. This is Alakai. First and foremost, I know it's been a while. I'm really sorry about that. I've been having a lot of problems with my internet. It seems like one of the Windows updates really caused an issue with, I think it was Hangouts or something was screwed up. So, apologies, but I'm back now, and hopefully you are still there. Today's video is going to be about a team build that I've seen around being played now and again, and it stars Doctor Strange and primarily Storm. Decks have been named Strange Brew. I personally like Strangelove, Doctor Strangelove. But the core of the interaction is, quite simply, Doctor Strange is a 6-mask energy character. When Doctor Strange is active, each time you use an action, he deals 2 damage to a character or opponent. Okay, so he's a 6-mask, so you're going to have to use something to get him out in the field. Most likely Professor X. But every time he's active, or each time you deal an action, he deals 2 damage to a character or opponent. Really, really important. Keep that in mind. Okay? Storm. Each turn, you may redirect the first 2 damage dealt to Storm by action dice to your opponent. And her global is pay a mask, change a target of an action die that targets a character die to the character die of your choice. So really what's happening here is that you're going to use action dice, and you're going to use like some of the more common first assumptions is that something like Power Bolt or Force Beam, and you're going to get these guys and you're going to attack with it, and you're automatically going to get a 2 damage to your opponent with Doctor Strange if he's active. If you target Storm, the first 2 damage is also going to go to your opponent, so it's going to have 2 damage, 4 damage right off the bat. That's just direct damage. Power Bolt's a 3 cost, and it's quite simply deal 2 damage to one target character or a player. So Power Bolt might not be so great because you can use the 2 damage directly to your opponent, but there's also some other interactions. Things like Force Beam, you deal 1 damage to each character, including your own. Okay, well that's great. You have this interaction going on, and you're going to do 1 damage to your opponent, plus you're going to get the 2, so you're going to do 3 damage to your opponent. But it's 1 burst is instead deal 2 damage to each character, Alright, well, first 2, so you're going to do 2 damage and 2 damage, that's 4 damage. And second burst, 2 burst, instead deal 1 damage to each player and 2 damage to each character. Wow, if you get that double burst, you're dealing 1 damage to the player, plus you get that, so that's 3 damage, plus 2 damage to each character. First 2 is going to hit them, that's 5. Quite awesome. Force Beam is the card to get in this little setup. Another card to possibly play is something like Takedown. Takedowns deal 2 damage to a non-shield character. If it's a villain, deal 4 damage instead. Okay, well, once again, deal 2 damage to a non-shield character, Storm the Mask, 2 damage, bam, you're gonna hit her. It's gonna kick the 2 damage over to your opponent. And then one thing about Takedown is pay a mask. Target character gains a villain affiliation until the end of turn. So the idea is that you make your opponent's character a villain, and then you hit them with 4 damage. That's the idea. If you're going to do direct damage to, if you need removal for your opponent's side, if you're going to use Storm, you don't want to do that. You just want to use the 2 damage to the character. Okay. We have something else, something a little bit more tricky. Here we go. Take that villain, basic action card, deal 3 damage to a villain. Well, what's that going to do for us? Maybe it'll do some damage to the other team if they're playing a villain deck or something, but well, wait a second. I don't have any villains, so why is this of any value to us? Well, number one, if you hit this, you're going to get your 2 hit with Doctor Strange. But remember Storm's global ability? Pay a mask. Change a target of an action die that targets a character die to a character die of your choice. So if you're going to hit somebody, deal 3 damage to a villain. It's going to target a villain, hopefully on the field. Right? You have a villain on the field. You pay your mask. It's going to redirect it to Storm, who's then going to launch the 2 damage over to your opponent. It's going to take 1 damage for that, but the first 2 damage is going to go to your opponent. So you're going to hit them for 4, when you're going to take 1 damage to Storm. Something else to think about. That global ability is really good. Reckless Melee, or Melee. Another basic action. Deal 1 damage to each character. Burst, instead deal 1 damage to each player. That's great. Double Burst, instead deal 1 damage to each player and 1 damage to each character. Well, you're going to get 2 from Doctor Strange, and again, you're going to redirect that Storm damage. Another opportunity for you to play some action cards, some cool action cards. Now, I do have a couple questions. I said earlier, you're going to probably have to use some Professor X in order to get out Doctor Strange at a 6. Well, what about this global here? Pay a mask, move up to 2 psychic dice from your use pile to your prep area. If I use that global, will that trigger Doctor Strange's ability? And the answer is no. The reason why is that global is not an action. It's an ability. It's really important to make the distinction, understand the distinction, because just because you use somebody's global ability doesn't mean you're going to go and trigger Doctor Strange. Here's something else for you guys to think about here. What if somebody's playing Quicksilver Villainous? Quicksilver's Villainous's ability says, when Quicksilver is fielded or knocked out, deal 2 damage to each X-Men character in play. Well, okay, so he's fielded or he dies, and he's deal 2 damage to each character. Oh, Storm's an X-Men. Hey, you can do 2 damage to Storm, and all of a sudden that 2 damage is going to be redirected to your opponent. Is that the case? Is that true? And the answer is no. Why? Because, once again, Quicksilver's ability is just that. It's an ability. It's not an action. So, stay focused. Neither globals or character abilities are actions. They are abilities. You must use the action cards in order to get Storm's full potential out. Guys, I hope it helps. I've seen it played a couple times. It is very effective. It's great direct damage. But if you are going to play that deck, I would recommend using some power, some more aggro. I would recommend using Psylocked for some clearing away or some removal. I would use something like Gabi or Johnny Storm for some direct damage, and then especially Serena. One of the main reasons is you don't want these guys to get removed, right? So if you actually see somebody do a removal, you're going to want to drop a Gem Keeper or even a Cerebro on there, slow them down so they can't knock out your Strange and your Storm. So be careful with that. People will immediately see Doctor Strange, they're going to know what it is. I've seen it played probably 2 different decks, and it is becoming much more standard. So take care, guys, and I hope it helps. We'll see you soon. Thanks, bye. Hey everybody, it's Alakai. We've got more and more and more boosters to open. How much we love it. It's about as much as we love pulling rares. So let's see what we got here. Bam! Mr. Sinister, Arch-Villain. 6 and a bolt for a villain. While Mr. Sinister is active, if your opponent has no villains in the field, each of your character gains +2 defense. And magic. I gotta always remember this die right here equals magic. Don't see too much of her. Ilyana rests between a 4 and a mask. When magic is knocked out, re-roll her die. If you roll a character face, return magic to the field. Pack number 2. Oh. This Psylocke? Conan the Assassin. Bam! Nope, X-23, alright. But we have our rare. X-23 Killing Machine, 5 and a fist. X-23 must attack if your opponent has a character of cost 5 or higher fielded. X-23 gets +1 defense when attacking. So every time she attacks, she's going up to like a 7/4 and cost of 5 or higher in the field. So I think the cost when we're talking about it is going to be the cost here. So pretty good for getting in when there's some big beefy creatures. But the problem is that when you see like something like Hulk or like the Red Hulk, it's got like 8/8 at the bottom there, so it's not going to do very much. I'm not 100% sure why that is the case. Maybe it's just because she's cheap and you're hoping for the expensive fielded character that's got some kind of unique ability, but she's a rare. And Psylocke, Betsy Braddock, the common version. When fielded, move 1 opposing character with cost 2 or less, including sidekicks, to the use pile. Not bad. Alright, pack number 3. Oh, every time I see something like that, I get excited. Do we have an Emma Frost? Super rare, boom! Nope, Sentinel, Arch-Villain. When fielded, if your opponent has no villains in the field, knock out all opposing X-Men characters. Your opponent takes 1 damage for each character knocked out in this way. Great card to play. It's anti-X-Men deck, right? Pay a shield. 1 X-Men character must block this turn if able. Totally an X-Men, anti-X-Men deck. 7 and a fist, or 7 and a shield for a villain character. Then we have, of course, our Emma Frost, our Arch-Villain. 5 and a shield villain. If your opponent has no villains in the field, prevent all damage Emma Frost from fist characters. Not bad. Just pack number 4. Vision, Android. Vision takes no damage from mask characters. 4 and a mask from Avenger. Level 3 is a 2 field, 4/7. Would probably do a little better with Ant-Man's switching numbers little game. We have Marvel Girl, Telekinetic, 6 and a bolt for an X-Men. When fielded, spin each opposing character down 1 level if able. She's pretty moderate. Level 3 is a 6/6, so she's kind of like our standard play card, basic card. Pack number 5. Come on, super. What do we have here? Oh, what is this? Namor, the Submariner, common version. If you have at least 2 other characters fielded, Namor cannot be blocked. 5 and a shield for an X-Men. What's Apocalypse? 6 and a bolt. Apocalypse awakened. Apocalypse gets +5 defense on the turn. He is fielded. So we have our 1 rare for the 5 packs. What was the X-23? We had 1 chance at a super. We missed it. But we'll get them next time, right? Take care, guys. See you soon.